So let's begin our practice here this morning, just finding your favorite seat, wherever that seat might be. If it's on a block or a bolster or a blanket or maybe even in a chair, you can do that, a stool. So I'm going to sit on a meditation pillow. It's just a pillow, it could be a rolled up blanket. And our mudra today that I've chosen is called the Vitam mudra. So the Vitam mudra is the gesture of vital energy. And it's for one of the koshas. The koshas are the 5 sheaths of the body. And so this one is for the energy body, or the Pranamaya kosha. So you hear the word prana in this, and prana means energy or vital force, life force. And so this mudra helps us to sustain and bring energy to the energy body. So it's very, very simple. We're going to just cup both of our hands and bring them about 6 inches to a foot apart from each other, like you're envisioning a ball of light in between your hands. And then that's all you do. Let your shoulders relax, and as you inhale, imagine that ball of light growing a little bit bigger. So your hands might separate a little farther. And as you exhale, bring your hands just a little closer together, like that ball is contracting. Inhale and fill up your torso, fill up your belly, expand. Exhale, contract, release the shoulders. Let's do that about 10 more times. So just bringing the energy into our hands, bringing the awareness into that space between the hands, expanding that space with each inhale, and contracting that space with each exhale. So breathing in and just separating your hands, and breathing out and pressing the hands just a bit closer together, contracting. Breathe fluidly through your nostrils. Feel free to let out a big exhale through your mouth if that's what's needed today, at any time. We'll do 3 more. One last breath. Now taking your hands out in front of you, spread your fingers wide, and with an inhale, scoop the air up overhead, lifting your hands up. As you exhale, float your hands back down towards your legs. Let's do that about 4 more times, so 5 total. Breathing in and lifting up. Breathing out, floating down. Breathing in, lifting, expanding through the body. Breathing out, contracting, relaxing. And we'll add 1 more, just for good luck. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, bringing your hands back down to your knees. So your hands can grab onto your knees if you're in the cross-legged seated position. If your legs are straight, then your hands can grab onto your knees there too. So just grab on wherever it's accessible for you. As you inhale, we're going to imagine that our pelvic bowl rolls forward. So you want your belly button to lean forward, and you want your shoulder blades to squeeze back. Open your throat, open your heart. As you exhale, you're going to round your back and roll to the back edge of your pelvic bowl. And we'll just try that a couple times. Inhaling, opening the heart, squeezing the chest open. Exhaling and rounding, looking down even. Inhaling, maybe looking up, opening the neck, the heart, the front body. Exhaling, opening the back half of the body. Couple more like that. Just working out through the spine, through the shoulders. Maybe you feel a bit through your neck as you're moving it this morning. And we'll bring ourselves back to center. And so if your legs are crisscross, change them so that the other leg is in front. Unless you have your good leg in front and it's really uncomfortable the other way, in which case just keep yourself in that position where you're comfortable. And so from here we're going to rock our chest from side to side. I'd rather see more of a sliding the chest, than a tilt. We'll do the tilting here soon. So with this one we're just trying to take the ribs and slide them to the right and slide them to the left, back and forth. You might feel a little sensation in your waist as you do this, just rocking it out. Alright, so let's do a little Sufi circle. Bring yourself back to center. If you need to change your legs, feel free to do that. We'll lean our heart forward, squeeze the shoulders back, and then as you exhale, round your back once again. This time we're going to add in the circle. Inhale your heart forward and start to lean in one direction. It's your choice which way. And as you exhale, come to the back side of your circle. And as you start to inhale, bring yourself forward. As you start to exhale, bring yourself towards the back half of your mat. Inhaling forward with the chest and the heart. Exhaling towards the back half. So this can be a really small, gentle movement, or you can make it really big. You can get really dramatic with it. So that's really always your choice. Notice what you're feeling in your body, the sensation that you feel, the energy that you're bringing in. Now this time as you inhale, bring your heart forward and change directions. So, just going the other way, and if you feel the need to change your legs, you can certainly do that too. Just noticing if there's a difference between the sides. I felt more going clockwise than I do going counterclockwise. Mostly in my waist, ribs. Alright, so let's start to bring ourselves back to center slowly. And let's stretch our legs out long here. So extend the legs out, stretch them out long, wiggle out your knees if you need to. We're going to bring our hands outward off the edges of the mat. So most of you will be sitting long ways on the mat and your hands should reach off the edges. And so let's take an inhale and stretch our arms out long and up towards the sky. Maybe your fingertips touch. Keep your left hand up. Bring your right hand down towards the mat. And we're going to start to lean into the right side. Couple breaths as you do that stretch there, noticing how intense it might be. Do you want it to be that intense? Because you can certainly be in charge of backing off of that stretch. Inhale, bring yourself back up. Exhale, drop your left hand. Inhale, bring your right hand up to the ceiling. Left hand is now grounded off the outer edge of your mat. And we'll bend into our left elbow, reaching through the right fingers. Couple breaths as you just feel that stretch happening, making sure to really root down through your right thigh and your right hip as you reach away from that point. Inhale, bring yourself back up. Ground yourself down here. Beautiful. Inhale, both hands up to the sky, like you're reaching up for ropes. Hinging at the hips, we're going to round over and try to reach for our toes, ankles. Maybe you're at your shins today. If you have a strap handy, then you might use your strap around the bottoms of your feet. Let's take 4 more deep breaths, just kind of stretching into this posture. If you're experiencing pain, then you need to back up just a little bit so that you're not feeling pain, but maybe instead a little bit of discomfort. So we don't want it to hurt. We want it to hurt so good. Let's take one last deep breath. Inhale and slide back up to center. All right, so from here, we're going to just take our right leg and slide it off the edge of the mat. If you'd like, you can bend your left knee, bringing your foot to the center line. So now I'm already feeling a stretch in my right inner thigh. Sit up nice and tall, reach your fingertips for the ground, and if you would like to, start to walk your fingertips forward, increasing the amount of tension on the right inner thigh. Make sure your right toes stay pointed up, your right knee stays pointed up at the ceiling, and we'll just find that point of resistance, that edge where you can really feel the stretch, but it's not edging into pain. You can hold yourself there, sustain yourself there, and breathe that energy into that space. With your tented fingertips, walk them over towards the right leg so that now you're squared kind of over top that right thigh. I'll ask that you reach your right hand down as far as you can towards your right ankle or your foot. And we're going to take this left hand and sweep it out and up overhead so that we begin to spiral our chest open. Look up at the ceiling underneath your left armpit. And you should now feel not only your right inner thigh, but also your left waist and your left ribs. Take a deep breath there. With your next inhale, bring yourself back to center. We'll square our right leg straight forward, slide the hands from your thigh to your knee to your shin. Maybe you're at your ankle, maybe you can come to your toes. Wherever you are, just find that spot and begin to bow your head down, looking down between your arms towards the top of your right thigh. One last deep breath in Janu Sirsasana. And we'll start to slide ourselves up this right thigh. Let's kick the left leg out to the center. We're going to do another round of side sways. So ground your fingertips here on either side. Inhale, reaching your fingertips out, up overhead. Maybe your fingertips even touch here. Keep your right hand up. Left hand is going to sweep down. Keep your right sit bone grounded, and we'll start to lean towards the left, swaying towards the left, reaching towards the right with your right ribs. So your ribs are kind of sliding to the right as your hand is reaching to the left. Last breath here in this pose. As we come up, it's going to be a little bit more difficult this time, so keep that right arm arced over, lift your left hand, reaching both hands up to the sky. Keep your left hand reaching up, right hand grounds down to the side, and come into that side sway to the right, sliding the ribs towards the left. 2 more breaths, stretching those left ribs. And with an inhale, bring yourself back up to center. All right, so take a big inhale. Both hands reach up to the sky. Both hands reach down to your knees, to your shins, to your ankles. Maybe you're at your toes or using a strap. Bow your head straight down between your arms, looking down at your thighs. Draw your chin towards your chest. And from here, reach your hands out past your feet, up towards the ceiling as you bring yourself back up to seated tall and ground the fingertips down. All we're going to do is take our left leg and slide it out off the edge of the mat and bend our right knee out to the side so that your right heel is lined up with your belly button. Left leg is out. I already feel a left inner thigh stretch here. Tent your fingertips out in front of you. Sit up nice and tall. Relax those shoulders. And if you'd like, if it's available, you can start to walk your fingertips a couple more inches forward until you find that tension space in your left inner thigh. So right when you start to find that edge is where you should stop and just start to invite some breath in, some prana, some vital energy. Try to let your shoulders relax. Notice if there's any tension in your jaw. And with tented fingertips, we'll start to walk our hands over towards our left leg, the straight leg. Towards your shin, towards your knee. It might increase that inner thigh stretch, that's for sure. I'll ask that you reach as far down your left leg with your left hand as you can. The right hand starts to swivel up over the head, spiraling the chest out towards the right. Relax your left shoulder, opening the chest, perhaps even glancing up underneath your right underarm. 2 more breaths. With an inhale, fan your way back up to center. We'll begin to slide this leg, this left leg, back forward into alignment so that it meets up with the right foot. Big inhale up towards the sky. Bring your hands down to your shin, down to your ankle. Maybe you're at your toe today or using a strap. We're now in Janu Sirsasana posture, so bow your head down, chin to chest, so that you're looking towards your left knee or your left thigh between your arms. Breathe that big breath in, bring some energy into your body. Relax, breathe out. Beautiful. Sweep your hands straight out in front of your foot, and then start to bring yourself back up. We'll ground the fingertips down. Extend your left leg out and your right leg out and wiggle out your feet. Bend your knees. Do some window wipers here. All right, and so from here, we're going to do a little bit of our Baddha Konasana, so feet come together, knees apart, sitting up nice and tall and grabbing onto your feet. As we sit up tall, we want to let our shoulders relax down, the back of our head down so that our chin comes level with the floor, and imagine your tailbone reaching down, while your belly button and your heart and your third eye lift up. From here, if you'd like to fold into your feet, feel free to do that. Leaning your belly button just a bit closer towards your feet, towards your toes, finding that point of tension where you start to feel the stretch in the inner thigh muscles. And you might notice that it's more in one leg than it is the other. One more deep breath here. Great work, everyone. All right, so from here we're going to be doing a pose called half shoelace in yin or Ardha Gomukhasana. So I want you to take your right leg and extend it out as far as you can. And then take your left leg and cross it over. Almost like newspaper pose, but a little bit further if it's available, so that the top of the left knee is stacked over top of the right knee. So from here, we're just keeping our legs like this. So if you have pillows around and you feel like you're going to kind of fall over, you can kind of tilt, kind of push it underneath your hips so that you're not going to topple over. If you have a strap available, I highly suggest that you use one for this pose, but I will demonstrate it without and with. So we're going to take our right arm and reach it up overhead. And we want to try to bring our hand to the back of our neck. So right hand is kind of grabbing onto the back of the neck or even down in between your shoulder blades. And your left hand is going to reach up for that right elbow and assist it. So just kind of bring your elbow up a little bit further. Awesome. Now if you have a strap available, a sock, something like that, then you'll grab on to part of that strap and let the other part dangle down your back. Next, our left hand will come out to the side. You want your palm to face down and then back so that your thumb is facing downward. And then sweep your hand to your low back. If you have that strap there, you're going to be able to grab onto the bottom edge of that strap and work your hands closer together. Some of you don't need the strap at all, so feel free to grasp your fingertips if you have it there. But if not, we're going to take a moment and take a deep breath in Ardha Gomukhasana, which means half cow face pose. So I always remember because cows go moo, and so Gomukhasana. We'll start to release our arms, release the left leg, bend the knees, supporting yourself behind you with your hands, and let your knees start to rock from side to side. Alright, so for this one I'm going to turn to the side so you can really see what I'm doing here. And so we're going to keep our hands and our feet just like this and take this into a twist. So I'm taking my right side, my right arm up, and I'm going to hook the outside of the arm on the outside of the left leg. And then I'll start to push a little bit into my back supportive left hand to bring my chest up, and we're adding a twist. Take a couple breaths, so if you need a little bit more tension pushing into the outside of that right arm, into the left thigh, feel free. Great work. And start to unwind. Take yourself back with straight legs. Take your right leg, bend the knee, cross it over, and try to let the right knee just kind of drop onto the top of the left knee. And so if you feel like you're going to topple over or you feel unbalanced, you might take a rolled up blanket and support yourself under a hip, under your foot, even if that's not supporting your knee at all. So we have to find ways for our body to be supported. Now, if you'd like to focus on your upper body here, you can do that too. So we're going to take our left hand, reach it up, and for the back of our head, for the back of our neck. And that's where if you're using a strap, you might just kind of let that strap dangle down your back. Grabbing on top with your left hand. Take your right hand and assist the left elbow. So grab onto the left elbow with your right hand and bring it a little bit further, only until you feel that stretch. A stretch that feels good, not too intense. If your hand's starting to go numb, you might just omit this one. Let's bring our right hand out to the side. Turn your palm backwards so that your thumb is facing down. And sweep your hand to your low back. You should be able to grasp onto that strap if you're using one. Or perhaps you can grasp your fingers, so maybe you don't even need your tube sock or your yoga strap. So wherever you are, try to sit up tall. Try not to round forward and hunch. And we'll take our last breath in Ardha Gomukhasana. Release the hands. Bring them back behind you to support you. Bring your right leg back into alignment. Feet come flat so the knees are bent. And we'll rock from side to side. Alright, so this time We're going to take our left arm up to the sky and hook it on the outside of the right knee or the right thigh. Arrange your body so that you can get the full maximum amount of stretch that you need. Try to relax those shoulders as you create a little tension by kind of elbowing the outside of your right thigh, adding a twist, maybe even looking over your right shoulder. And we'll start to unwind. Great job, everyone. Let's flip this over onto hands and knees. So you know I always like to use a blanket under my knees when I am in tabletop position. All right. So ground through the palm. The palm is like the center of your hand. I also want you to ground through the mounds of the fingers, the mounds of the knuckles. Spread your fingers and arrange your hands however they need, whichever angle they need to feel right, to feel good. With an inhale, we'll drop through to a traditional cow pose, lifting the tailbone, reaching the heart forward. As you exhale, round your spine, look back at the thighs. Inhale, open your chest. Heart reaches forward, head up. Exhale, round over like a mad cat. Last time. Great job. This time we're going to do 3 more and we're going to really move through, so I give you permission to really move through your elbows. So as you come into cow, bend through your elbows, reach your heart forward. As you come into cat, slide the shoulders back, slide the hips back and up. Inhale, bend through those shoulders and slide the heart forward. Exhale, slide the heart back and up into the chest. Last time, inhaling into a cow, exhaling into a cat. Beautiful. We'll go and do a couple arm strengtheners real quick. So this is tricep, the back of the arm that we just stretched in Gomukhasana. So I want you to lift the right leg up towards the sky. The knee can be bent or straight, it's up to you. And we're going to do 5 little gentle push-ups here. So just with your elbows bent, come down as far as it's okay and press back up. We'll do it a couple more times. So I'm at 2, I've got 3 left. And 1 more, and bring it back up. Adding into a twist. So take your right hand and sweep it up towards the sky. Exhale, thread the needle underneath the left. Let's do that again. Push into your left hand, open your chest to the right. Exhale, thread the needle under the left arm. Last time, inhale, pressing through the left hand, opening the chest. Exhale, threading the needle, this time landing down on your right shoulder, the right side of your face. Your left hand is flat, in alignment to your wrist. It should be in alignment with your chin or your nose. And if you'd like, of course, you can try any of the variations. Sliding the left hand, up overhead. Perhaps reaching up towards the sky, or if you like to bend your elbow to your low back, you can do that, adding a full bind around. Don't forget to breathe, and while you're here, check in with your knees. Make sure that there's not more weight in the right knee and that the hips are not leaning towards the right. We'll reach our left hand back up to the sky, ground it down right next to your nose. Push through the left hand and press back up to tabletop position. Let's take an intermission in a melting heart pose, Anahadasana, also known as puppy pose. So keep your legs just as they are, And start to walk your hands forward, out from underneath your shoulders, way forward. Drop onto your elbows, lift through your pelvis, drop onto your forehead, your nose, or your chin. Two more breaths. Stretching the shoulders out, melting through your heart. And we'll start to pick ourselves back up and walk the hands back underneath. Onto the other side. We'll lift our left leg up towards the sky. It's up to you if you want your leg to be bent or straight. Here's our 5 push-ups. They don't have to be big, just bending through the elbow and bringing it back up. Don't let your elbows wing out. Keep them underneath your ribs. I'm on 3, 4, last one, 5. Beautiful work. Drop that knee down. And then what we're going to do is stretch out that left side. So I'm going to flip around here. Take your left hand up to the sky. And start to stretch underneath, threading the needle towards the right. Inhale, press back into your right hand, open your chest. Exhale, thread the needle. One more time before we settle into the bind. Left hand reaches up, and now we're threading the needle, landing on our left shoulder so that the left palm is facing up towards the ceiling. The right palm is on the floor right next to your nose or your chin. And you can add more into that if you'd like to. You're welcome to keep your hand right where it is. You're welcome to reach it up to the sky or bind it to your back. Whatever you did on the other side, try it on this side too. Make sure there's not more weight going into your left knee. Make sure those hips feel somewhat even. It's hard to tell when you're in the pose. There's no one really there to correct the posture, so just making sure there's the same amount of weight in both knees. We'll extend our right hand back up to the sky, back down to the ground right next to our face, our nose. Do a little push-up through that right hand and bring the left hand back down. Nice work. We'll do a cow and a cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And now we'll stretch out our shoulders by doing a puppy pose once again. So walking your hands forward out from underneath your shoulders, melting your chest down towards the floor. The forehead, the nose, the chin melts down. Great work, everyone. Let's bring ourselves back up to tabletop position. We'll tuck our toes underneath and roll up into our first downward facing dog. Start to pedal it out just a little bit, stretching through the calf muscles. For some of us, this might be the first time we've moved or stretched our body today, so really take it slow so that you're aware of every sensation in your body. We're going to strengthen up these arms today, so drop the knees back down to the mat. Walk your hands back just a little bit so that they're really nice and square underneath your shoulders. Keep your chest kind of right over top your hands. And then tuck those toes, lift your knees, but don't lift them into downward dog, just lifting them an inch. So you're still in tabletop, but your knees are just lifted up off the floor about an inch or two. Let's take 2 more breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. 1 more breath. And drop the knees down. Separate the knees. Point the toes and bring the toes to touch. Walk your hands forward and start to slide your hips back as far towards your heels as they go. They might not be all the way, and that's okay. If they stop halfway, start to melt your chest down. So it might be a combination of puppy and child's pose. If you're in child's pose, that's great. You can kind of just settle in there. But for some of us, our knees hold too much tension and we're not quite into child's pose yet. So we just do the best we can. We find the right angle. I'm going to have us do another posture while we're here. It's called rabbit pose. So I will have you sweep your hands back towards your feet. If you can grab onto your heels, that's great. We're going to be rolling onto the very top of our head, so the very crown of our head. You want to start with your forehead on the floor, and then you're going to start to roll up, tucking your chin to your chest so that the crown is on the top, or is on the ground, I'm sorry. So you can watch if you'd like, or if I've explained it well enough, you can try it. So I start with my forehead down, and as I raise my hips up, my hands slide to my ankles, and I now have pressure on the crown of my head. As I film this video, it does happen to be Easter, so rabbit pose, I believe this is how they sleep. So we'll roll back to our third eye, sweep the hands back, forward and front, roll back up to tabletop, square the knees forward towards the wrists, spread those fingers, tuck your toes. Staying in our nice little tabletop, lift your knees about an inch or two off of the ground, gazing down in between your hands, strengthening up our hands, our arms, our core. And from here, lengthen your legs, pushing through the palms into downward facing dog. Pedal it out a couple times. Look from your toes to your hands and start to walk your feet forward or walk your hands back towards your feet so that you end up in a nice kind of forward fold, knees bent, just hanging out, dangling. With your knees bent, soften them just a little bit more. Sweep your arms out like a bird, up towards the sky, up overhead as you raise up, inhaling. And we'll bring our hands to our heart to ground down. While we're here and we're grounding, let's bring ourselves back to our mudra for the day. So you'll separate your hands to about a foot apart. Close the fingers together like you're cupping a big ball of energy right in front of your belly. And as you inhale, imagine that ball of energy growing a little bigger. And as you breathe out, the ball shrinks and contracts a little bit. Inhaling, growing, expanding. Exhale, contracting and relaxing. One more time, inhaling, the hands expand, exhaling, the hands contract. Inhale, sweep your hands out in front of you, up towards the sky. And as you exhale, soften your knees and fold over top your legs. Looking down at your toes, you can certainly use a block here if you would like. With an inhale, lengthen your right leg. And with an exhale, bend both knees. And with an inhale, straighten just your left leg. And then relax and bend both. Let's do that two more times on each side, so that way each leg is just straightening a little bit and rebending, and then trying it on the other side, just seeing how the legs are feeling after all of our stretching. I'm on my last left side. With an inhale, we want to expand through the chest and reach the heart forward as our shoulders drop down, tailbone reaches back, and as you exhale, soften through your knees once again. Let's try that again. Lengthening the legs, lengthening the chest and the spine, and then exhaling and relaxing. This time, ground through your fingertips and step your right foot back, and then your left foot back so that we're in downward facing dog. Pedal the feet out a couple times so that your right heel is pressing towards the mat, left knee is bending, and then press your left heel down and bend your right knee. Back and forth a couple times, feeling it in the calves, always pressing, pushing into the ground with your palms. And from here we'll roll forward to plank position, drop to the knees, and slowly lower yourself onto your belly. So it doesn't have to look pretty, keep that in mind. Point your toes back and drop the tops of your feet onto the yoga mat. Squeeze your elbows back. Look forward, lifting your chest slightly, but very little pressure on your hands. That's called Sphinx, and then we'll lower down. Let's go into Cobra next. So come into Sphinx first, and then push a little bit into your hands, keeping those elbows pulled into your ribs. Squeeze the glutes to protect your lower back, and we'll slowly lower back down to belly to chest. Bend your knees, tuck your toes. Push through your hands, coming back up to tabletop position. Arrange your hands nicely. Lift your knees up off the ground all the way to downward facing dog. Reach your right leg up to the sky, all the way up as high as you can. Bend your knee, open your hip out to the side. Lengthen that right leg up, and we're not doing anything fancy except walking forward. So step your right foot forward, then your left foot, then your right foot, then your left foot. As many steps as you need. You can walk your hands back. Inhale and lift halfway. Lengthen your spine, lengthen your chest out, your legs. Exhale, bend, soften, contract. Inhale, imagine that ball of energy is now in your belly. Every time you inhale, it expands. You have to make room for it. Exhale, it softens and contracts. One more like that. Inhaling, expanding. Exhaling, relaxing. Sweep your arms straight out in front of you. Bend your knees as you start to bring yourself all the way up to standing tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. 3 breaths as we ground down, standing here. Imagine that ball of light in the belly, so every time you inhale, it expands and makes room for that energy. Exhale, it softens and contracts in the belly. Inhale. Exhale. This time we'll flow through the sun salutation. Inhale, sweep your hands out straight in front of you, up to the sky. And as you exhale, soften your knees and fold over top your thighs to a forward fold. Fingertips can stay on the block or on the ground, or you can lift them to your shin. Inhale, lifting halfway, shoulders drop. Exhale, contract. Inhale, expansion, lifting halfway. Exhale, relax. Drop your chin to your chest. Last time, lengthening out. And exhale, bend both knees. Get your fingertips, your palms to the mat. We're going to step our left foot back first. Then our right foot back to downward facing dog. Look at your toes and then look at your hands. And try to roll your way forward over top your hands like you're in plank. If plank is really difficult, you can certainly drop to your knees. Knees and hands is fine, tabletop. I'm going to do that as I lower to the mat. So I'm dropping to my knees, bending through my elbows, and lowering onto my belly and chest. A Sphinx position, looking forward, peeling the heart up, elbows pull into the side, very little weight in the hands. And then exhale. And if you'd like to add the cobra or the up dog, we'll take another round to lift our heart into whatever posture you like. Lowering back onto the belly. We'll tuck our toes underneath, pressing up to tabletop position. This time, instead of lifting into our downward dog, we're just going to lift our knees an inch or two off of the ground and hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, lengthening the legs into downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up to the sky as high as it can go, bending your left knee out to the side to really open that hip joint. Lengthen it back up. Keep pushing through your hands. We're walking forward. Step your left foot forward, then your right foot, right foot, as many as you need, walking your hands back if needed. 3 half forward folds, lifting halfway. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, bend your knees. Last time, lifting halfway. Exhale, bending through the knees. Sweep your arms straight out in front of you. Bend through your knees and start to slowly bring yourself up to standing. Hands come to heart center. Exhale. 3 breaths, regrounding. Imagining that ball of energy right in the center of your belly. Every inhale, the prana is brought in, the energy, and it expands, and almost like a ball of light, it glows a little brighter. And with every exhale, it contracts and softens, and the light kind of flickers. Inhale, expansion. Exhale, contraction. All right, let's sweep our arms out, up, and overhead. Keeping your left hand up in the air, sweep your right hand back down to your side body. And then we're going to slide down the right leg with our right hand. Right hand is down the right leg, left hand is up over the body, reaching over the head. Inhale, bring yourself back up. The left hand is reaching up, the right hand is now reaching up. The left hand is going to slide or reach down towards the outside of your left thigh. And as we exhale, we're going to slide into a side sway standing. So the left hand is sliding down the left leg as the right hand is arcing over your head. Inhale, bring it back to center. Left hand joins the right hand up overhead. Bend through your knees a lot, like you're sitting in a chair. And then start to roll over top your thighs, coming into a forward fold. We'll lift halfway and bring our hands to the shins, lengthening the legs, the chest, and the spine. Exhale, bend through your knees, plant your hands, and step your feet back. Drop down onto your knees. Keep your toes tucked, and start to lift up onto the knees. We've done a lot of forward folding, so we're going to do a little back bend here. So I like to keep my toes tucked because it kind of allows me to cheat a little bit. If my toes are pointed, then I've got about 5 extra inches that I have to reach down. So I like to keep my toes tucked so that I can reach for my heel. If you're not quite at that point, you might even use a block and stack the block on your leg or out to the side of your leg. So we're going to be doing Ardha Ustrasana, which is half camel posture. So I'm going to take my right hand to my right heel and sweep the left hand out and up and begin to kind of reach the pelvis forward, activating the glutes. So the glutes do kind of clench a little bit, and that protects the back. Opening the chest out to the right, so you are in a little bit of a twist. Now to come out of that pose, we have to almost sit back towards our heels, and we want to come forward with our chest as to sweep around the spine. And we'll come back up to center. Let's try it on the other side. Left fingers are going to reach back and try to tickle your left heel. Right hand reaches out, maybe up overhead. And we'll begin to reach forward with the pelvis and the belly button. Clench the glutes just a little bit so that you protect your back. Reach the right hand up to the sky or back up over your head. And to come out of that, you have to sit back towards your heels and swing the upper body around the spine. I always do it that way so we don't impinge any nerves in our lower back, so that we're coming around the spine instead of straight up on the spine. So from here, let's make our way onto our back. And we'll pull our knees to our chest and start to flatten the back into the mat, rocking from side to side. Now, if there's any last movements you'd like to do here, feel free to separate your knees and try a little half extended baby there, or half happy baby, excuse me. If you'd like to go into the full happy baby, you can try to grab onto the soles of your feet, your heels, your ankles, the insides of your knees, pulling your knees back towards your outer body, towards your ribs, and rocking over the spine. Now before we lay down on our back, of course, feel free to finish up any last supine movements that you need on your back, maybe just rocking the knees side to side. Some people really like the supine twists. But it's up to you. Feel free to linger and do whatever postures you need. But I am going to guide us into Shavasana. So before we do that, let's do a couple bridges just to take any tension out of our lumbar spine. So you want to bring your feet flat with your knees bent and push into your feet, lifting through your low back. Thighs are activating, shoulders pressing back to open the chest. And then we'll lower the back, the hips back down to the mat. Let's try it 2 more times just to take that tension out of the back. There's lots of options here as well. So traditional Shavasana, extending the legs out to a 45-degree angle, so slightly towards the bottom edges of your yoga mat, so the bottom corners. You want your toes to be heavy, so allowing the pinky toes especially, imagining that the pinky toes have a little weight hanging on them so that the feet naturally go outward. It's an external spiral or rotation. And the same thing goes with the upper body, the arms. Allow your arms to extend off the edges of the mat to a 45-degree angle with an external rotation so that the palms are facing up, the knuckles are on the ground, the fingers are curled and relaxed, the elbows soft, and again, shoulders heavy so that the heart is open. Notice the prana, the energy. As you inhale, notice how your belly lifts. It expands. And how when you exhale, it softens and becomes apana. Prana, the upward movement of energy, vital energy, life force. Exhale, the downward movement of energy, the grounding force. Imagine a ball of light within your belly. Every inhale fans that flame and allows that light to glow a little brighter. And every exhale softens. Nice hot coals just glowing. Breathing in, it ignites a flame. Breathing out, it softens to just embers. using your breath to stoke the fire within, to make movement in the molecules and all of the particles of your body. Just like a burning campfire, imagining embers and ash starting to smolder and make their way out of the central place of the fire, starting to send that warmth outward down into your extremities, into your fingers and your toes, into the crown of your head, so that your entire body is filled with this pranic energy. The ball of light begins right at the solar plexus. And the glowing starts to move down into the navel chakra and up into the heart chakra. And up into the throat chakra. Up into the third eye and down into the base or root chakra. Allowing that bright energy to bust out at the top of your head, the crown chakra, all the way at the top. Your body filling with vital energy. Every inhale, feel your body expanding. Every exhale, feel your body softening. Begin to bring awareness back into this body of yours by just spreading your fingers and spreading your yogi toes, pointing your toes and making fists, bringing more energy into your ankles and wrists. Of course, you have the choice to stay exactly as you are. Feel free to find your way to a meditative state if that's what is serving you here. If you'd like to join me, you can extend your entire body by reaching your hands up overhead and pointing your toes, lengthening like a good morning stretch, stretch, stretch. And I'll have you keep your right arm up above your head. Bring your left arm over your chest and start to roll to the right side, curling your right arm around so that it now supports your head and is curled around your right ear. If you're joining along, take a moment in this side body posture known as the position of the unborn, and have some gratitude for the body, for this vessel, for this container. Press through your left hand and let your right hand assist you as you come back up to a pinwheel and maybe swinging your legs back around into a seated posture. And again, this is a great time to kind of bring a meditation cushion in, or wrap yourself up with a meditation shawl or a blanket. And if you're feeling especially quiet now or enjoying the visualization of that beautiful burning ball of energy within your body, then this is a great time to continue that. So finding your way back to a position or laying down, whatever feels good and right for you today. And if you're sitting up and you'd like to join me with the mudra, bring your hands cupped about 6 to 8 inches apart. And add very subtle movement here. Every inhale, the hands separate a little further. And as you exhale, the hands contract, and it's almost like you're squishing a ball of energy. Inhale, and the hands expand. And exhale, the hands contract. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone, for joining me this morning, for joining me on the video at a later time. Thank you for listening to this body, for listening to the cues and the sensation that it gives to you. Thank you for tuning into your breath, the guide through the practice, the energy through this lifetime, the vital force. Keep breathing. And have gratitude for the mind that got you here. Roll out the mat and come and do some yoga today. Gratitude for each of you. Thank you so much. I bow to the beam of light that exists within you, the beam of light that exists within me, and the same beam of light that prevails through the entire universe. Namaste. In Shukriya, that means thank you.